Greetings, freelancers. Hope this lore entry meets you at a great place. Today we are going to be talking about the future of the Dominion faction. That was the topic on the poll, and I had you guys and girls take on that poll and select which ones you want to see first. So we're going to be talking about this one, the history and of course the possible futures. Note that everything we say here is going to be backed by factual lore evidence from the gameplay and the Cortex entries. It will be of 3 parts, and all 3 parts will be talked about in this video. So with that said, let us begin. First thing that we must understand is that as much as our story might have painted the Dominion as a huge enemy, they are only enemies to humanity's orders, not enemies of humanity. The leader, the Monitor, is referred to as the Orgot ruling the Dominion faction in the entries, a faction that suddenly arose years after the fall of the Legionnaires. The Dominion's creed also shows that they and the freelancers have a similar goal in mind. It was just about the approach to things. While the freelancers are trying the civil approach, as what a lot of us believe the civil approach is, the Dominion rules with an iron fist. They believe that if you want to change something in this harsh and cruel world, you have to do it by force, but their goal still is to rid this world of terror. In the original entry, the members of the Dominion faction are those who defected from the Corvus, those who came from Anthem, those who became outlaws, and from these outlaws we have those who became the Dominion. There are words that the Dominion scientist was a former genius who grew up in Anthem and went to some of the best schools, named after Arden Vasa himself. The disagreement on how to repel the Orgot horde is what led to the strength of this army, this Dominion faction. And once the Dominion came to power, the Orgot became silenced. So that is one of the things we also have to look at in terms of the Dominion faction. Not that they are just evildoers who are trying to kill everything in this world. The Library of Tarsus also made a reference to the Orgot ruling the Dominion, which is something that I hinted on earlier. It was a perfect partnership between Dr. Harkin and the Monitor. Now, this is where we begin our first transition and talk about death, life, and everything else. Everyone that was at the Heart of Rage or at the Cenotaph might have been affected, but there was never a proclamation of death for certain individuals. They just disappeared. No one knew where they went. The Monitor was there and he didn't die, so there's also a possibility that Dr. Harkin would still be alive, just stationed at the Dominion's base or working on things behind the scenes. Or there is another possibility that he could have merged with the Monitor himself. When the freelancers defeated the Monitor at the Heart of Rage, it could have also survived. Still, remember, he is now part of the Anthem. He is now in a place that transcends life and death, which means we cannot fully say he is dead, and when the Strider rocked him into the mountain, it could have used the same ability it used when fighting us and vanished into the wind. So we cannot all just call his death yet. It could still be in recovery. This is where our second point actually begins. The freelancers silencing the Monitor and silencing the Art of Rage actually did more harm than good, at least in some aspects of it. The Anthem of Creation employs balance into everything. For the General's order, the Orgot horde was the chaos. For our order as a freelancer, the Dominion was the chaos. Defeating and crippling the Dominion faction has offset that balance of the Anthem, and the Scar faction or the Outlaw faction are not strong enough to balance that at this point, which means they are probably preparing to take that spot, but they are not strong enough to balance that. Now it's only order, and there is soon to be a rise of another chaos, and that is where we're going to be looking at the regular factions that we have right now, and of course the future factions. Before the fall of the mighty Storm General, the Orgot Horde once roamed the lands of Bastion. They fell from the battle with General Tarsus, though they still come. The Dominion's presence is what kept them away for a long time. It is as if the Monitor knew what was coming and he was preparing himself for a much greater battle. Through this arc, he was always trying to get stronger and become a lot more powerful, and that goal was still to protect humanity. For the same reason, he sought out the General's armor. Even if it means sacrificing a few heads, the goal is still to keep humanity safe. Now that the chaos has been silenced, the seat of power now opens up to a whole lot of people. We have seen the roadmap, which shows the Scar faction rising to power. Then we also see the Orgot faction after that. The Scar now have the Escarai, an amalgamation of Scars, symbiosis to create something of intelligent life form, a lot more powerful, ruling and directing the battle. And there are words that Silos is not the biggest one. Silos doesn't even compare to the most powerful Escarai out there. The Queen of the Scars is the most powerful because she is more than an amalgamation of different Scar minds. So where is the Scar Queen? Well, that is a great question. We might end up finding out towards the end of this act. After the Scar faction, we will have the Urgots return. Before the rise of the Dominion faction, the Urgot once ruled this land and invaded Anthem. In fact, several humans were slaves to the Urgot. At night, they will scale the walls and kidnap kids just to be used as slaves. They were mighty, but their battle with General Tarsus broke their strength and crippled the Urgot Empire. The existence of an Urgot leader in the land of Anthem as the Dominion is also one of the things that kept them away for ages. This empire obviously has been rebuilding itself to rise again for 500 years, trying to get back to its glorious days and even stronger. We have war on our hands here, freelancers. The cataclysm is not the only thing to be afraid of because we have so many things in this world which are enemies of humanity. And as the Cortex even suggested, the Shapers themselves were enemies of humanity. And we must not forget that the Dominion faction might have fallen, but that doesn't mean they're out of the power struggle yet. There are those who seek to take the Monitor's place. So which faction do you think will be our biggest threat? The Insect Scars, the Urgot, or should we say the Shapers? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoy this, hope you find it interesting. We will be talking about the outlaw factions in our next entry. Thanks once again, it's DA signing out. I'll see you in the next one.